You pimp this channel like a pro, buddy. It's all that small town murder you're listening to.
Yeah, man, finally catching on.
I mean, James does a good job.
He does.
I want to sign up for Patreon.
Bee sting titties.
And then there's Jay.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then there's Jay.
And then there's Jay. He doesn't bring much to the table, but look at him dance.
Sure.
Look at him and dance. Damn you.
Dwight
All
D.
right.
Eisenhower once said, "What counts is not necessarily the size of the dog in the fight, but it's the size of the fight in the dog."
Did we not do a military one?
That's kind of military. Eisenhower said it.
That was a statement. It's Dwight D. Eisenhower said pretty much everything is military.
He said it when he was president.
Yeah, but he was in the military before he was president.
Yeah, but I mean,
Either way,
he wasn't a Navy SEAL or anything.
My contribution.
It's okay.
It's now all.
We'll let it slide.
It's not directly military. We don't have to explain the whole backstory of, Operation Red Wings for like the third time.
I'm sorry, but I didn't realize quotes had history.
All right.
Who's got the thunderstorm?
That would be me.
Cool.
So, let me close these windows down. Y'all chit chat a little bit.
Oh, we're gonna chit chat now.
I'm here.
He just tells us what to do.
Yeah, I just told y'all what to do. It's my show tonight.
Listen, pal, until you have a Milwaukee knife in those pants, I don't want to hear you bark out orders.
Let me go over here. We'll just change the YouTube channel right now to the Caleb Show.
That's fine. I could stop doing it then. That's all I need.
All right. He's getting a little big for his britches. He thinks he's Oprah Winfrey over here. You gonna hand out cars too?
At least give me something.
If she really wanted to affect a difference in her viewers' lives, she should have given them money so they could pay their bills, not a fucking car that they can't pay the taxes on.
Touche.
Tell me where the lie is.
Exactly.
All right.
You want me to do the housekeeping?
Yeah, do the housekeeping.
All right. So,
Drugs.
We got to get this road on the show.
As always, please consider joining us on. We're on the Facebooks. At least not Nick and I. Nick's lovely wife. She manages.
You mean that you said the Facebooks? There's only one Facebook. The last time I checked.
And
how many MySpaces are there though?
I don't know. But anyways, you can jump in on discussions, polls, debates, fun camping memes, contests, giveaways, and more. We're still working towards getting a few things signed up for a couple giveaways.
Got to get that 20 viewer mark.
Yep. So if you're watching now, you got at least one friend that might be a little buzzed and has nothing else to do at 9 o'clock on a Friday night. Send them a copy of the link. Be like, hey, listen to these three douchebags, and give them a like, subscribe, stuff like that.
I'm personally a tart, not a douchebag.
Yeah.
That's true. I can't confirm that.
Well, at least none of us are that F word, because we all use the same tools.
Fuckers.
Anyways, we're also on Twitter and the Instagrams with content.
Will you stop making things plural? Don't need to be plural. Shut Mother Nature up while you're at it.
What's that?
I said stop making things plural that aren't plural and shut Mother Nature up while you're at it. Or should I say Mother Nature's?
Yeah, tell Mother Nature's to shut up.
Mother Nature's.
Mother Nature's.
All of the natures.
Well, I don't know.
Mother needs to nature your speaking abilities.
Hey, look, he builds houses. He doesn't read books, okay?
Yeah. I know where the 2x4
house off Caleb.
go. I know where the 2x4 and the plumbing's supposed to go. Outside of that, not my problem.
Hey, look, it's only a problem if he's got to actually read the directions to put something together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they come in detailed pictures, so I can kind of figure it out from there.
She said sushis and sashimis.
So Twitter is the @Arvine Tradesman, and then Instagram is _TRDSMN.
You would not believe what it takes to change a Twitter account handle or whatever the fuck Twitter calls them and an email address.
I can
It takes
imagine
like an
that.
act of God.
It really does. It takes like, Caleb's thunder back there to make it happen.
Yeah.
It's like, what do they think somebody's going to hack our account? And
That's exactly
mess
what it is. They're like, oh, it's a privacy thing and blah blah blah. All this.
What are they gonna-
not
what
a
are they gonna-
privacy.
We need to verify that you're
it's
the
a
one
public
that just logged
safety
in and wanted
issue.
changes.
That's what
What
it
are they
is.
gonna
It's a
do,
public
mess with
safety
all-
issue by changing your email account and everything else. I'm like, fucking Christ, Snowden was right.
What are they going to do?
Mhm.
Fuck with all 6 of our followers?
Right?
All 6. We get that affiliate link worked out, or it's still kind of
No, not yet. I think the problem is not enough people used it, and they were like, well, "We're not making any money off you."
Yeah, probably.
I'm
You
not
could
gonna lie, I
still
don't-
donate
I
money to us on PayPal. Just use
Yeah,
our
that's right.
mile-long email address that you can find in the link or in the description to every video.
Gmail.com.
We've now got
That's it.
Caleb drywall, so now we need to get him like mud and paint, things like that.
Exactly. It's very bright though. I like it. It looks good.
I know it's a lot brighter now. It
It is.
works for the light.
It actually blends in with your skin tone quite nicely.
Oh, thank you, Jay. Thank you.
In case you were wondering, when you go to CVS to get your makeup and everything, if they ask you what your shade is, you're Georgia Pacific.
Drywall. Drywall.
I am Gypsum Board.
Gypsum.
That's the official name.
Make sure you specify the thickness.
Haha.
Oh,
yes.
5/8 for sure. 5/8.
No, this
I
is
was
3/8.
more like 3/8. Ah,
Yeah, I got 3/8 for this just because it's a utility shed and it's not inside my house. Inside the house, I'd probably go 1/2 inch or 5/8, like Nick said. So
I was trying to give you a little bit of credit, not make everybody think you're a cheap bastard, but whatever.
I mean, if it works,
Have
it
you
works.
seen it?
That's all that
have
matters.
you seen his utility knife? I mean, come on.
That's true.
Come on.
I mean,
But,
Jay, I know you've got a utility knife like this too. I mean, come on, we can't all be cool.
I got
Yeah,
this
it's all
one with
be-
me right now.
well, let's
Got a
see.
Punisher skull on it.
What was it? 5 weeks ago, we did Nick's
Fourscore.
journey to the tradesman, and then 2 weeks ago or weeks ago, we did Mr. J,
I think it was what Jay said. I think it was 7 years ago.
something like
I
that.
actually said 10 just to throw him off.
But well, this week it's all about me. So
That's what I'm going to do for my quote next time. I'm just going to read the Declaration of Independence. I know that's from the Emancipation Proclamation, but the Declaration of Independence is longer.
exactly. But yeah, so
I have a copy of
our 3-part series. The first one that we did is kind of about all of how we got into the trades and stuff. My journey is kind of a bit different. I didn't go to trade school or anything like that, or any one specific trade. I would say
Because we all remember me going to trade school.
Well, that's true. You didn't. You didn't, did you?
Nope.
I thought you did.
Nope. I do a lot of classes.
You went to the University of Go Get This.
Pretty
Go get
much.
Yeah.
I do a lot of classes at work and stuff, but that's more.
He's like, I went to the university of hold that fucking flashlight still.
Yeah, right? Not here. Hold it where I'm working. I don't know where
On the
you're
school of-
working because I'm
Put
not
my
paying
10mm
attention.
socket back in its spot. I don't want to lose that thing because it's always a 10mm that goes missing, right?
I don't know
Anywho.
where you're working because I'm not paying attention. I'm creating a narrative for that squirrel over there. This is boring.
Yeah. But anywho, so kind of a similar start to finally getting to where I am now. My dad, he worked more in the trades. He was an electrician, or an electrical engineer. He worked on a lot of large
one of
power
those
plants
guys.
and stuff like that, building circuit panels and everything.
engineer.
So a
We've
lot
made
of
our position on engineers clear, haven't we?
yeah. Well, my dad was one that he would actually redo the blueprints and what they sent him, because on a lot of the circuit panels, the way that the guys that designed the circuit panels had it together would actually cause them to short out and explode. And my dad said, you can't run the wires or the circuit this way because you will literally overload the system and have a catastrophic meltdown. And
so you get a whiteboard out for like when him and your mom have sex? Like, okay, you're going to be here.
No.
Why do we have to do that? I tell you, I'm an engineer.
I'm engineering it.
But no, so
I can't believe your dad drove trains for a living. That's wild.
No, he didn't drive trains. He electrician.
He just said he was an engineer.
An electrical engineer. But
yeah, the diesel engine runs a generator and train runs off of electricity. We all know how that work.
Yeah.
He
so
could have been a hotel engineer.
He did a lot of work at plants and stuff like that.
Building engineers are fun.
And then kind of my dad kind of has like a general knowledge of just about any type of trade that's out there, but that kind of goes back to my family in the olden days. My family, where at least on my dad's side, we like to consider ourselves handymen. Like if we don't know how to do something, we do what we can.
Sexual thing.
We'll give you a handy as payment, so you do it.
Yeah, well, we like to do things ourselves. But anyway, so my dad.
Well, that works too. You guys like to do it yourself. You'd rather not get the women involved.
Yeah, do that. Hit on the handyman comment. But yeah, a lot of growing up when my dad was making repairs on the house, because they built the house out in small town North Carolina where I
look at this. Up. We broke him. He can't remember where he was going with any of that now.
Yeah, they moved out there when I was 5, and with it being a new home, and this is before there were really any warranties or anything. And then my dad wanted to add rooms and stuff. Throughout the time, I'd basically help him go to Lowe's, get material to put up walls, drywall, stuff like that.
Would you say you were 5?
Yeah,
that is right at the transition from everything, like you having actual skilled like tradesmen, workers, like true cabinet makers come out and put your, I mean there's still true cabinet makers and things like that, but now it's,
but a lot of the cabinets are pre-assembled in a factory somewhere, and then the installers they
I mean, I'm sure if you pay somebody enough money, like they'll come out and custom build your cabinets for you, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's one builder around Kiowa that they do old school timber frame construction, where instead of nails holding like the 2x4s and stuff in place, it is like mortar and tenon joints that they actually do and hold it together with wooden pegs.
Yeah, like hanging
it's more tenon, where they cut out a square hole and then they put a square.
Yeah, but you said mortar. You're thinking of the stuff that holds brick together.
That are the guys that drop ordnance on people in the army.
Well, that too.
He's never going to get anything accomplished with us.
No, we need to shut up.
But
no, I just wanted to say though, that's like right at the end of actually having like true craftsmen building houses.
Yeah, when people actually like put the houses together, not just
and gave a fuck.
And one thing that
a big hit.
Not trying to.
No, you could get. I think Sears was still in business. You could probably still get the Sears kit where you built your own house.
That was kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie.
That was a really cool thing.
Yeah. But not modern home construction, because they're engineered a little bit better, so the engineers say.
No, they're not.
They're probably
some
a little
of
bit
it
more
is better
whenever it comes to heating and cooling, just because materials have advanced stuff like that. But I mean, I can tell you my time in warranty. Some of the houses I've seen, like within the first 3 months, they've got drywall cracks already starting to form. Where my parents' house is over 25 years old now, and they have one settling crack.
27.
Yeah. No, it's 25.
Well, you were 5, right?
Yeah.
So you were born in 1992 then?
91.
So then it's 26.
Yeah. But you get it. I said 25. Come on. But, they only have like one settling crack in there, which just goes to show that, back
Welcome
then
to the
they.
show that goes nowhere.
Yeah.
It goes to show that Union County sits on a giant piece of granite.
Yeah, pretty much.
It does.
We're around here, everyone sits on marsh and sand, and they're like, well, why is my house settling? It's only been 6 months. It's like, you moved to a marsh.
Well, that's what it does.
It happens. But yeah, no, I spent a lot of time at my parents' house. My parents, they had some land. Grandparents had a farm and stuff like that. I spent a lot of time working on farms and stuff. And kind of where all the farms that I grew up, spend either the summers up at my grandparents or, during the school year at my house. Things tend to, break. You need to mend fences and stuff like that, put up new fencing, repair barns and stuff like that. So, during the summer, I spent a lot of time cutting grass and stuff with my granddad, pretty much all week long. And then, in between cutting grass, if there was like a stall that needed a board repaired, or if there was some fencing that we noticed was down that, while we were weed eating, we'd, make a point, we get the materials we need, and then we go fix, whatever we, found. And of course, when I was younger and I wasn't really helpful with a lot of the stuff, a lot of my chore was kind of what Nick and Jay got to do. I got to run to the tractor or the truck, grab the box of staples, grab the hammers, or grab like the shovel or the
get distracted along the way, lose the hammer.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Or come back with
Normal
the
shit.
version when you needed the repainted version.
So but yeah, so I spent a lot of time farming and stuff like that. Always enjoyed working with my hands and stuff like that. One thing that I really took a liking to, so my grandparents, where they lived in rural West Virginia, there was an Amish community that was right down the road.
This is starting to explain a lot.
Yeah.
No wonder you hate your sister.
So, anyways, with the Amish community right down the road, my granddad, we'd go out there and I'd watch him shoe horses and stuff like that, which I always thought was neat. But the other thing I really enjoyed was...
Oh, yeah, the Amish are very violent. It's all the inbreeding.
But I really enjoyed... I got to see them do like barn racing once. And it's like, I don't know how many of our followers or whatnot have seen barns or anything, but, some of the biggest barns...
None of them. Nobody knows what a barn is. Never. You're the only one.
But like when the community does barn raising, it's just interesting how like they all just come together and in a day they literally raise an entire barn, roof, sidewalls, framing, everything.
Oh yeah, it's the Family Guy joke.
Yeah, it doesn't take them long to build it, and
they keep blowing the barn up, and they're just
because if you build it back.
And I really enjoyed
if
watching.
You've seen Kingpin.
Yeah.
Where they're raising the wall and they ring the dinner bell and he just walks away and they drop it. He's like, I don't know how they build barns in Pennsylvania, but we don't walk away in the middle of a barn raising to go eat lunch.
Yeah. But so that kind of piqued my interest into like carpentry and stuff like that, and watching them use primitive or just using hand tools. We've talked about it before, but like they weren't using power tools; they're using
no, their technology stops at 1880.
Yeah, I mean they're using manual hand cranks, chisels, timber chisels.
I'll show you a
hand saws and everything.
Let's not suck their dicks too hard. They don't have zippers on their pants.
But
it's too close to a machine.
What I'm trying to get at, Nick, is that that
he's laughing, but he doesn't realize what I just said was true.
Yeah, no, I know it is. They don't have zippers. Everything's buttons.
There's a lot of Amish people up here.
They also don't have faces on their dolls because they don't want them to become possessed. Which, after watching Chucky at the age of 5, I was on board with him for a while.
They were onto something.
I was like, maybe the Amish are right about something.
And support.
So yeah, that kind of struck my interest in carpentry and building and stuff like that.
Playing with big
and of course, outside of that, I thought that was neat. They showed me, some of their shops where they, they made furniture. That's what a lot of them did to make money. They were either in carpentry to frame houses, or they actually made furniture.
I will say they do make some killer ass furniture.
Yeah, and
It's because
my
again,
uncle,
kind of like the houses thing. There's a huge difference between something made in a factory and something that somebody spent 40 hours of their. I mean, 40 hours of their own time to build one chair versus 40 minutes.
Yeah,
in a factory.
And and it's the quality, because they take the time, they make sure everything's like a perfect fit and cut, and then you can also get into like the grain direction and everything like that. I can nerd out on it.
Oh, dude,
I'll try to save y'all on it.
There's no wood grain in fucking furniture made today. It's all pressed board and sawdust glued together and shit.
Yeah,
that's why you can't get any of your furniture wet.
Pretty much, because it's all
just dissolve.
And that's why my table costs a fucking fortune.
But then I have my uncle.
You can deconstruct that table and make that fucker into a pallet. Think about it.
Yeah.
And then make it back into a.
But my uncle on my mom's side, he built houses and stuff for a while. And so I'd go with him once I got older. I'd actually go to him some of his job sites. He went from building whole houses to mainly just doing renovations and additions and stuff like that, because he had more money in that than trying to build an entire house from start to finish.
What about subtraction?
And so I got to learn a lot of the beginning process of home building with him.
It's a faster turnover rate on it. That's why you can make more money at it.
Can y'all hear me all right? Or
yeah. Okay. The rain's coming through pretty good too, though.
What's that?
Yes.
The rain comes through pretty good too.
Yeah, I kind of figured it did. But anywho, so fast forward a few years. I always had
some fucker cheaped out and got 3/8 sheetrock instead of 1/2 inch or 5/8.
If I'd done 5/8, you wouldn't have heard it. Well, half my ceiling's not insulated, so that's probably the other half.
Well, whose fault is that?
Yeah, so I spent a lot of time with my dad building furniture. That's something that he kind of did as a hobby. Going back on the carpentry, my dad, he found a fascination with how the Amish built stuff, so he wanted to build similar furniture. Very plain, straight corners, nothing elaborate, no paint. He likes to let the wood and the grain of the wood speak for itself.
After meeting your dad, I believe that 100%. I don't doubt that for even a second.
Yeah. But, so anywho, that's pretty much where my interests were. But career-wise, as I got older and everything like that, I mean, I'd still do oddball jobs. I worked on a farm all through high school. And I was basically like the farm handyman. If something broke, the owner, she asked me to go fix it. She'd ask me to make a material list, and then she'd go out and get the material, and then she kind of got to a point where she trusted me enough. She's like, hey, here's my credit card or my Lowe's account. Just go there, use it. You can take my truck, pick up whatever you need, come back and fix it. And so I did that a lot through high school and some into college. But I went to college. I went to the Citadel, which is a military college in South Carolina. Reason for that, because
never heard of her.
I always wanted to go military. And so I was kind of hell-bent on just going in the military, and I figured going to a military college would help me with that. But also, going to college, you have to get set on a specified field and spend 4 years of your life learning a specific subject for 4 years.
Ivan et Niage.
What's that?
Ivan et Niage.
Yeah, Niage. But anywho, so I did my 4 years. Got a major in history because I enjoy history, and a minor in psychology. And
they gave you a minor?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a Bert Kreischer joke.
I thought they only did that for priests.
He gets it.
Yeah, that's over my head. But yeah, so I got a major in history, minor in psychology, and when I graduated college, the job market wasn't too hot. And I was kind of like, well, shit, what the hell am I going to do now? And I, looked around, and because I had the background, growing up on my grandfather's farm, mowing grass, weeding, and stuff like that. And I was just looking for any job. And I also want to go military, but that door closed, and another door opened. My now wife, she was a girlfriend at the time, her mom and some other friends, they were like, hey, you'd probably make a pretty decent cop, if the military thing isn't working out, why don't you look at law enforcement? Well, a couple guys I knew at the Citadel, they went and worked.
Wait.
What's that?
Hang on. Roll the tape back for a minute. Your mother-in-law told you to be a cop.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that after the show. Keep going.
What's that?
We're going to talk about that after the show. Keep going.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I heard that right.
No, you did.
Okay.
But anywho, so, that kind of got the thing going. Even my college roommate, he was like, yeah, dude, he's like, I could see it. He's like, I know I'm going military and that's not going to work out for you. Why don't you, why don't you really consider it? And some of the other guys that I graduated with and that I knew at the Citadel,
it's a city job. It's decent benefits.
But some of the other guys that I knew, they all, I'm not trying to ignore you, Nick. It's just kind of hard for me to hear because I know y'all can hear the rain, but it's even louder in here. I really need to get some headphones, but
maybe just turn the volume of the rain down.
The volume up? The volume on the rain. Yeah, I can't do that. But
maybe if you used 5/8 drywall instead of 3/8.
Yeah, I should probably invest in that 5/8 drywall. But
some paint wouldn't hurt either.
But I forgot you were raised by an engineer.
We didn't know that till just now.
I could see the frustration mounting.
Go back and draw that on your blueprints.
What's that?
Go back and draw that on your blueprints.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, I sent a few applications to some local law enforcement agencies. And in the meantime, I tried to find something that I was familiar with, which was landscaping based. I found a landscape company in the area that I ended up working. I went in, and the guy, whenever I went for my interview, he looked at me. He's like, so why do you want to just cut grass and be one of the field guys? Because it's like, they don't really make that much money. And he's like, I can offer you more because, you do have a degree and everything. But he's like, why? And I told him, like, well, I kind of need a job right now. I'm trying to get familiar with the area. And I'm like, I'm just going to be completely transparent. I'm like, I just, need something to pay the bills for right now. And, if another opportunity opens up here, I'd be interested in pursuing that or having that discussion. So I got hired on, and I cut grass with on a landscaping crew down in the Charleston area for about 6 months, right out of graduation or right out of college. But also during that time, my background and everything passed through the law enforcement agency I was trying to get hired by, and they eventually offered me a job. Well, it also kind of lucked out when they offered me a job because right when I got the job offer, my field manager for the landscape company called me in, and one other guy on my crew that they really liked because, we weren't afraid to work and do a good job. He called us in and said, hey, you're the only two people in the division right now other than us, which was the division president and then him. And they're like, we're actually getting ready to close down the Charleston office, and we want y'all to come up to Myrtle Beach with us. And I was like, wow. And they're like, but if, you want to stay here because you got family and whatnot, we understand that too, but we want to let you know that you have a guaranteed job up in Myrtle. And then they said there's going to be another landscape company that bought out their contract and everything for the Charleston area. And they're like, if you stay on, they said they'll they'd be interested in talking in a pay raise and, to keep y'all on board and whatnot. I'm like, okay, I'll chew that over. But anywho, so after that, my film manager actually called me afterwards. He's like, hey, why don't you come up to Myrtle Beach with me? Because, I want you to talk to the regional manager for the company for the entire East Coast. So I did. I helped him pack up everything from the Charleston shop, went up to Myrtle Beach one weekend, went and had a second interview with this landscape company. And the guy basically said, yeah, if you're willing to move up here and cut grass, we'll promote you to like a field manager in the next 3 to 6 months, and so on and so forth. And so I talked to my now wife about it, and because we're only dating at the time, she's like, well, I'm not moving up there with you, just on that, because she had a job and a good job down here and everything like that. So, and her family was here, and she's like, unless we were married, she's like, I'm not, I'm sorry, I'm not going to move around with you just in case something happened. I'm like, I get that. So I thought about it. I have the job offer from the law enforcement agency, talked to parents and family and parents and stuff good and hard about it. I decided to stay. I helped the other landscape company get going because they were building basically their crews up from scratch, and I helped them find some decent candidates and let them know the area that I maintain. And then I joined a police department. And then for the next 6.5 years, I did that. Worked in law enforcement, saw some good, a lot of bad. Had 2 kids. And eventually, just the toll of the job and some of the stuff that I was exposed to and saw on a daily basis started to kind of wear on me. Early on too. So I decided I needed to find an outlet or something to do. Well, only fell on something that I had an interest on, which was carpentry. So I, made small wooden boxes, and then that turned into making furniture on the side and stuff like that. And so I've always kind of maintained woodworking and stuff on the side, whether turning on a lathe or making tables, furniture, decorative boxes, stuff like that. And I more so did as an outlet just for, stress relief and everything like that. And whatnot. So, but during that time, especially closer whenever I was getting to the end of my law enforcement career, I kind of got miserable. We ran into staffing issues. I left at the end of 2020. One that has a TV and watching news, 2019 to 2020 was probably the worst possible time to be in law enforcement. With the pandemic, riots, and everything going out.
Hell yeah, riot season, buddy.
What's that?
Riot season.
Yeah. Mostly peaceful riots, though. They were mostly peaceful, and whatnot. Don't believe what the media tells you. They were mostly peaceful, but just with that, a lot of people getting out for various
Only
reasons.
7% of them led to any kind of death or destruction or anything like that.
Yeah. So
Could you imagine if
7% of the time it
7%.
worked every time.
Well, there's 2 million some odd police interactions with citizens on a day-to-day basis. Imagine if 7% of those led to violence.
Yeah.
You wouldn't need to fucking tell everybody there's a problem. We would already know.
Yeah. I mean, like you can look to the statistics. I'm not trying to get into that tonight, but
I know
basically, like I'm saying, at the end of 2019, after my son was born, I just kind of looked at my wife and I realized one day, just because of how much I was working for childcare, she had to quit her job. I picked up a few more shifts at the department, some extra off-duty assignments and everything like that. for a little extra pay here and there, and helped other squads that were short. And next thing I know, I was working just about 6 of 7 days during the week, and then that one day off, I either slept or I was so far behind on yard work and stuff like that. It's like, or something broke in the house. It's like, well, I've got to fix this today. And honestly, it wasn't
Spending all your free time doing the shit you can't do during the week. I think all three of us have worked those jobs.
Yeah. And so it's like I literally, there's one day like I came home and I remember it very clearly. During 2020, it was about halfway through. I come home and my son started talking to me in like almost full sentences. I'm like, holy shit! Like, when did you learn to talk? And my wife's like, no, like he's been talking for a while. It's just, you haven't been around to be able to see it. So that really struck home, and I just remember one night talking to my wife. I'm like, I got to find something else to do, because it just wasn't working out. I was working longer shifts and more days, and never seeing my kids. And for a while, my wife. What's that?
Did you see the thing that I sent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's totally up to you. I just want to make sure you saw it.
I'll mention that here in a second. But yeah, talking to my wife about it, and I told her, I got to do something.
I like how he just got up and left.
I need a drink.
I'm like, I got to find something else to do. Started taking a toll on my personal life, friendships, stuff like that, family stuff. So about halfway through 2020, I started looking for another career field, and I'm like, I have no idea what I'm going to do. And my wife's like, well, why don't you look at something with carpentry or construction? Because I think that, you definitely enjoy that stuff. You'd enjoy it, and I feel like you would do well in that industry.
Oh, God.
So I did, and in the midst of all that, and I know with conversations with Nick and my AC breaking a few times, he was like, look, dude, if you really want to get out, like I can give you a few books and teach you a few things about HVAC, and that way, you could be better prepared, or maybe get out at least and do that for a while until you found something else, or if I liked it, become an HVAC guy.
Thank God you're not.
Or whatnot. And then in the midst of
I
that,
know, right? You know how badly he would fuck it up?
What's that?
Oh, we were just talking about how great of a heating and air guy you would be.
Yeah, man. I'm the best, I
Best
can
there
fix my AC
ever
with
was,
a phone.
plain and simple.
If it's anything like the drywall work, man, it's not much.
Yeah, kind of in the midst of that, there's another guy started getting to listen to podcasts and stuff like that, and some other YouTube guys. And I know Nick and Jay were kind of starting off with the YouTube channel here, but there was a guy. His name was Zach.
Zach Ciota.
Yeah, and
Is that how you say that?
Nick can throw a link to his page in the comments and stuff. But
I could reach out to him and see. I know he doesn't do that podcast anymore. But yeah, I'll definitely see about
but
getting something on that.
But while I was working on a project, I started listening to the podcast and stuff, and Nick had said, like, hey man, like, would you be interested in doing an interview about law enforcement today and everything like that? And it was turning around one of the hot topic things, and I was thinking about it. I felt like it was something I wanted to do.
That
that
just might have been was before the pandemic and all that.
No.
Was it?
Maybe it was. The pandemic had just started because it was after Thaddeus was born.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to find it now. But keep going.
But anyway, so I thought about it, and then there's a national incident that took place, and what really led me to say, yeah, why not? I'll do the interview. Was as soon as news broke about this national incident, the place that I work for sent an email out to all the patrol officers, and it's like, you won't share opinions, you won't talk about this, you can't talk to anyone about it, basically. And I was just like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, this is something that it directly affected the area that I was at and working, and the commanders and stuff like that were in charge that night when things went sideways in the area that I work. They mismanaged the entire thing. They didn't step up. They weren't leaders. I mean, it was me and a few other guys that was like, this is what y'all need to do. And finally got the ball rolling. And, unfortunately, by the time things got organized and we were actually able to kind of push back on the events that unfolded.
You remember what the name of that? I can't remember what the name of the show was then.
I don't remember the name of the show.
I'll reach out to him.
But yeah. So I mean, I did the interview mainly because I was like, I'm sick and tired of this. Like,
I know which one it was. Yeah.
Working for the government, they like to keep everything hush hush and whatnot. So. That also helped solidify my reasons for leaving. Also around this time, my daughter, because the shift that I worked, I'd have to leave, and where I live, I'd have to leave 2 hours before my shift started so I can ensure that I made it to our staging location to get ready for the day and everything in time. And my daughter started to hear me wake up in the morning. It's like 4:30, 5 o'clock, and she would just wake up screaming and run to the front door and just grabbing at me like, "Daddy, don't go. I don't want you to go to work today. I want you to stay home." Because also around this time, like with everything unfolding, I was involved in several situations where I was first on scene for some pretty messed up shootings and shooting victims, a lot of bio contaminants and stuff like that. And then with some of the protests that then turned into riots, we had to use chemical gas.
There were no riots.
So the media will say, but I can tell you firsthand, being on the front lines of it, it's media tells a very limited story of what really happened.
Lies.
But yeah, like I'd come home, and part of the reason why my daughter started having the nightmares and stuff was because whenever I'd come home, she'd be so excited that Daddy was finally home to try to come give me a hug, and like, you can't touch Daddy right now. Like, Daddy has blood on him. I had the CS gas, which is tear gas, for dispersing crowds and stuff, and I had all that stuff on my uniform and on my person, and the last thing I wanted her to do was like touch me or hug me and then have a secondary exposure or contamination for it. So that, and when that started happening, that really gave me the push and the drive to aggressively look for other jobs. And then I finally landed up on where I'm at now, working for a private home builder. And I remember I had the interview right before Thanksgiving. And of my 6.5 years working in law enforcement, I only had 1 year that I had every holiday off, and that was whenever I was doing investigations on the inside, and I worked a Monday through Friday schedule. All the other 5.5 years, I worked every single holiday. And towards the end of the interview,
you get days off?
Well, allegedly, they said we did. they're marked as holidays, but in law enforcement, you kind of have to work if it's your side of the rotation. But anyways, whenever I interviewed the guy, he asked me, he's like, "So you got any plans
get
for
fucking
Christmas?"
days
I'm
off.
like, "I got to work, unless something else." And he's made the comment. He's like, "Well, you might have it off. You might not have to work because we don't work on Christmas." So I was like, "Is that the official? Is that a job offer?" Or he's like, "Well, no, that's just it's a possibility. We'll see how things go." Well, Thanksgiving came and went, and then I got a phone call. I was working patrol. I was actually working an accident. Felt my phone going off. Well, I'm in the midst of performing a public service police duties. I'm like, I can't answer the phone. I feel the alert that I had a voicemail. I finished working the accident, and I'd already had like my letter resignation for the city. I had it typed up and ready. All I had to do is type in the dates that I was going to quit, and then print off and sign it. So it was like an official document stating my resignation from the department. And I remember very clearly it was the first week of December. I got the call, listened to the voicemail, and it was the guy that interviewed me. He's like, "Hey, I just want to let you know, like, give me a call back, but I want to let you know that, hey, if you want the job, it's yours." And I was just so excited. I actually, did the terror, what people think, it does happen. Not saying that it doesn't, but probably laugh at this, Nick. I think I've told you this before, but I literally didn't think anything else. I was still on the accident. I cleared the accident scene, but on the computer it said I was still working the accident. I flipped on my blue lights, hit the siren, and I ran code to the team office, pulled in the parking lot, went to the computer, printed off my letter of resignation, signed it, and then went to my team sergeant. And I asked him I knocked on the door and like, "Excuse me, Sarge, you got a second?" He's like, "Does this?" And I remember this, like he was such a dick about it. He's like, "Sure, is this something that I need to actually pay attention for?" And I just threw the paper down and I looked at him like, "I don't know, read that and tell me." And I turned and walked around, and then I just hear him from his office, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I'm like, and he comes running out of the office. He's like, "Are you serious right now?" I'm like, "Does it look like I'm kidding?" I'm like, "No, like that's my letter of resignation. I'm not going to be a cop anymore in 2 weeks." So that's how I did it. That's how I quit.
You told me that story, and I think I've told you this story too. Me and you, Caleb, have a common friend that we went to school with. His name's Angelo. Me and him have kind of followed each other around and worked at different companies and all that throughout our careers. He does heating and air as well, and he drinks a lot of White Claw. We're not going to hold that against him right now, though. We should get him on here and have him defend his position, though.
Yeah.
Although I find it indefensible, but his favorite story to tell people about me, because we've known each other for a long time, just like me and you have. His favorite story to tell people about me is when I quit working at one of the companies that me and him work together at, and it's the same story but different.
It's not the one you told me earlier this week, is it?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Where the owner had just gotten back from vacation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I remember that one. But
Dude, you have to hear him tell the story though, because every time he tells it, I think at this point I've become some sort of deity.
I believe it.
I think the next iteration of the story can only become like he then levitated off the floor, the sky opened and the heavens came down.
There's a beam of light, and everything stood still.
And the whole office could hear God say, "John, he is not going to work for you anymore."
Yep.
I mean, I think that's the only place that story has left to go. And I'm not making fun of religion. I'm not making fun of anybody that is religious. I'm just
I was going to say, because you make God sound
like it is.
Honor a little bit.
But yeah, so
Now I'm picturing God as Sean Connery standing there with a martini like James Bond.
That would be so badass.
I
Which
might have to go read a Bible. Is that what God is?
Yeah. But yeah, so that's how I
Listen
quit
here.
my longest career of 6.5 years.
Shaken
I
and stirred.
ran code and I threw my letter of resignation and said, I'm done. I didn't say I'm fucking done. I should have, but I did say I'm done. And then December, it was December 21st of 2020. I started working for the company I work for now. Came in as an entry level position doing warranty. Just really put my nose to the grind, trying to learn what I could as quickly as I could from a guy that had been doing that job for over 35 years. He had over 35 years of construction experience. He's done it all from warranty. He enjoyed warranty the most. I basically went in as a sponge. I absorbed everything I could from this guy. I remember
we're not talking about just knowledge either.
Yeah,
we're talking bodily fluids were absorbed.
I would go through the different floor plans of the different houses and stuff that we built.
There was a lot of pipe.
A lot of pipe and a lot of wire, really stringy. And I would just, go over the blueprints, try to learn them.
Well, you need pipe dope for pipe, so.
And yeah, so after being there, once they finally went me through, or I got through the training phase where I just shadowed this guy for about a month, they assigned me to a neighborhood where the builders I was working with, two of them had a good bit of experience, and they're very dedicated about building a good product and making sure right. So I had very little warranty from them, but I also, wanted to move up, and I didn't want to do warranty my entire time with this company. I wanted to become a builder and everything. And so I would ask them, like, hey, if you're going to walk a house this afternoon, you mind if I just walk with you, meet some of the field managers, or, kind of see what your day entitles? Because they're like, oh, yeah, sure. You interested in being a builder? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I want to see what it is that y'all do that's different than what I do on a daily basis. And so I did that for a little over a year. Before we got to my 1-year anniversary, we came up to
pay attention to the comments. Keep going.
Yeah, I know. So we came up to.
I saw that look.
Came up to November of 2021, and I'd been doing what I could to kind of get my name out there as like a reliable guy that like handled his shit, got stuff done quick, had good rapport with the different trades and field managers we worked with, and started having a conversation with the guy that hired me. And I was like, hey, like, I know we're not looking for any builders right now, but
you can tell he doesn't do heating and air, Jay.
Yeah.
Jay, tell him what happens when you do a good job and you get shit done.
You get more work.
Make you do more.
You do all the work.
So,
yeah.
Oh,
great!
Yeah, And that's one thing I really like about the company I work for is they take the time to listen to the employees, or like if they know you have an interest in like you do good work, they have no problem rewarding those that do good work and try their hardest, because they want to keep people like that in the company, because that's how you build and grow as a company. But so between then and just some of the stuff that the other builders in the neighborhood I was doing warranty in and helping them out on a few of their big ticket items, where they kept bugging his ears, like, because he would ask around to the other builders, like, hey, do you think anyone in the company, like either in sales, purchasing, or even warranty, would make a good builder to transition them out? And so he called me up one afternoon. He said, I've been asking around, and he's like, one thing's been consistent. I've been hearing your name get thrown around a lot. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, well, we don't have an opening yet. We'll have an opening come, the next fiscal year. But he said, I can go ahead and make the move come November and have you start training as on the build side and get you out of warranty if you do want to become a builder. That would be, an increase in pay and, a bit of a promotion too. And I'm like, well, hell yeah. Like, let's do this. If you think I'm ready and if the guys that you've talked to think I'm ready, I'm up for it. Well, after I get off the phone with him, our most senior warranty rep, who was the guy that trained me, gives me a call within 5 minutes. Like, I swear they had just had this conversation. It's like, hey, let's fuck with them a little bit. But
it's amazing how fast gossip can go through any trade.
Yeah. And this isn't gossip. So he calls me and he's like, hey, I just want to let you know,
It kind of is.
I'm finally going to make it official. He's like, I'm putting my 2 weeks notice today. He's like, I'm about to call the big boss, who had just called me and told me, like, hey, come November, we're going to move you out to the field on the build side and get you out of warranty because, we feel like you'd be an asset to the team. Okay. And so, and the guy, he's like, we're keeping it on the DL. I've already talked to him about it. These are reasons I'm leaving. I understood, like, he got a better opportunity that worked better for his family and his family life where he was and whatnot. So no hard feelings. Well, and then, about a week passed, and then the big boss, he calls me back. He's like, hey, I know we talked recently about this, because he was trying to get all his ducks in a row. He's like, I know we talked about this, but so-and-so's leaving, which was the most senior warranty rep. And he's like,
why do you keep talking about this poor guy's age? Leave him the fuck alone.
Yeah. But, and kind of backtracking a little bit, I was the first new hire that they had brought on since the start of the pandemic in 2019. Or started 2020. So,
in case anybody out there was confused as to when half the country shut down.
Yeah. So I was the first new hire, and at this point they had hired other warranty reps. I trained a majority of them. I trained over half. And so I was, by default, the most senior warranty rep with only 9 months of experience with this company in construction. And so he calls me, he's like, in the area that this guy used to cover, the one that quit, was our higher end homes. So I was in a neighborhood that was between like the 200 to 300,000 mark, like a starter home price range. And the neighborhoods he was managing were,
those houses are now worth $650,000.
Yeah. Well, the houses he had before like the major inflation were,
no, there's no inflation.
Oh, true. You're right. How dare I try to say something is happening when it totally is?
There's no riots. There's no inflation. It's fine. Everything's good.
Mostly peaceful.
Mostly
peaceful. Mostly peaceful inflation, guys.
You got you really got to put the emphasis on the mostly though. It's mostly peaceful. It's
mostly peaceful. But,
yeah,
so he called me.
It's literally that meme with the dog standing there with all the fire in the house behind him. It's good.
Yeah. And he asked me, he's like, can you take over his service area? And he did big ticket warranty items where on average, my warranty items on a bad day would cost the company about $5,000 to make the necessary repairs. The ones that this guy was handling, he was in $1 million+ homes and neighborhoods and subdivisions. And those warranty items could cost anywhere between $50,000 to $130,000 in repairs. So a lot more responsibility and everything like that. But they came and asked me first, and they're like, would you be willing to take over his area? Because we can try to move someone else, or try to bring someone in on the outside. But we need kind of someone right now to try to just stay afloat. And so I'm like, yeah, I don't mind doing it. So, long story short, once I kind of took over that role, after a couple weeks, realizing how much of a mess some of the houses were and some of the scheduling, I basically went to my I went to my boss and I was like, hey, like, I still enjoy working for the company, what I'm doing, but I'm like, some of this stuff's taking a lot of my personal time away that I used to have. And I'm like, I need a little bit more compensation. And he's like, well, I'm glad you feel that way because I was going to talk to you about that. So I got a little bit of a pay raise and promotion with that. And then only worked in warranty.
I think that was right before we went up north.
What's that?
I think that was right before we went up north.
Yeah, I had just taken over the neighborhood right before we went up to Jay's wedding. Got the increase in pay and everything like that, some other benefits. And then he also told me, he's like, I know you probably feel like I forgot what we talked about as far as making you a builder. He said, it's going to happen. Unfortunately, right now, I can't tell you when. He's like, all I ask is that just stay with us. Here, basically said, stay with us. Here's a little bit extra money for your troubles. Please stay with us. We'll make it worth your while. So I did. I got the retired communities and that neighborhood back up to speed or back on track as far as scheduling. Knocked out well over half of the major warranty tickets that were open, which were big ticket items where we're like ripping out entire first floor, subfloor, stuff like that. While also training a brand new hire, because in that process they hired my replacement and they're like, here, train him to do your job. So I basically got double duty where I'm training a brand new guy and I'm handling pretty expensive home warranties and stuff like that. And then come February, that boss, he got promoted and went up to corporate. We got a new division vice president. And he had the conversation with my previous boss, and he called me up one day. He's like, hey, so I understand you know, this is what you've done for the company and what you've taken over and you've stepped up. He's like, how would you feel about becoming a builder with a little bit extra pay and starting off in a brand new neighborhood we're about to kick off for the next, you know, that's going to last us about the next 7 years. And so I said, sure. When's that going to happen? He said, well, we'll make the transition come February. So end of February, I finished out my last warranty and moved over to the build side. And I've been building ever since February or March 1st of this year. I've been a builder. So, and I've enjoyed it. So that's kind of my life story of how I got into the trades. How I started off, helping my dad with basic carpentry stuff, and you know, starting with basic carpentry and home improvement stuff, and how that kind of transitioned into where I have ultimately ended up today, where I came in doing warranty stuff, repairing homes that were lived in, and then finally getting to the point where I'm actually building a house now. So, yeah.
You the man.
But that's about it for me. That's my story. And in between going from learning what I enjoyed as a kid to what I do now, I played cops and robbers for a while, which I also enjoyed doing as a kid, you know, but I did it real time. So that's that.
Yeah, and like I said, I know when you did that interview with Zach, you talked pretty candidly and dug into what it was to be a police officer during the riot season of 2020. So I will definitely reach out to him and see if he can get me a link to where I could put that in the description of this. And if people want to know more about that, they can check it out.
Yeah. Right.
But I felt that natural transition coming on. That's why I wanted to
I can feel it.
put that out there.
In the air tonight.
But Jay, you got anything?
Nah, I'm just here along for the ride.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
Comments?
Comments, concerns?
No, should we do the comments?
Oh, let's go
Well,
to that first comment that came in from at 9:04.
Yeah, I got you.
Sounded like Squirrely Dan's.
Putting
Well,
the
I'll put
S
an
on the
S.
end of
Put the S's on the ends of everything. The Twitters and
all the
Facebook,
things. The
all the
Twitters.
things.
Shirmish.
I handled all the warranties and all the home buildings.
Yeah, warranties I think works. So you have to say you did the warranty on the home buildings. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind warranty. I enjoyed it because it was a good transition out of law enforcement because there were a lot of similarities where it's like I would get basically a call for service, like something broke on a house. Hey, I want you to come investigate what happened to my house or why this lights or this pipe's leaking, and then I could go there, assess the situation, do my investigation, and determine if it's something that's on us, the trade, or if it's something the homeowner caused. But also at the same time, most of the homeowners I dealt with, if they're submitting a warranty ticket, they're kind of pissed off. Kind of like people that call the police. No one really calls the police on a good day saying, hey, I just won the lottery. Or like, hey, I just got engaged. I just wanted to tell you that. So,
Yeah. Well, it's like the heating and air guy. You never get a no cooling call, and everybody just is happy to see you.
Well, they are happy to see me until I present them with the issues.
Right? Let's see. Where did it go? That one. I want to address that one. He's in the same room that he was in when we started. So, yeah, I guess same room.
yep. Well, I think she's talking about the previous show because I only had like half the drywall up.
Well, he was putting the fucking drywall up in the last show. You missed that part and making all kinds of noise back there while Jay's trying to do whatever Jay does. I don't know. Why are you here again?
Emotional support.
Yep, same room, but I got drywall now.
I'm just here.
Same room, different stories.
I'm just here to address engineers and DeWalt people.
There you go. And a boy, Jay.
You know, I have like tool brands, like all kinds of different tool brands. I don't think I so much as own like a DeWalt screwdriver. I think if I found a DeWalt screwdriver on a roof or something, I would just leave it there.
So
I wouldn't even want to
that's
take it
where-
off the roof because I'd be afraid I'd get DeWalt on my hand.
So I actually have a DeWalt impact and drill, and it stays at my grandmother's house, and I actually use my Ryobi shit over top of it. I'm not even joking. I use the Ryobi shit all the time. I never use the DeWalt shit.
Well, going back on that tool thing, Nick, I made the comment to Nick today while I was at work that
Did you?
it was a thing about either today or yesterday
Oh yeah,
I
it
know
was
what-
today. I know what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
about
I don't pay attention when you text me.
yeah, I know. I get distracted in some of your texts.
Right.
Rightfully so. But I made the comment today, Jay, you'd be proud of this. I kind of made the correlation today. All my electricians, plumbers, and HVAC guys all use a specific tool brand that is red and named after a city in the United States. While
Minneapolis, Chicago,
yes,
New York City, Atlantic City,
Detroit.
Detroit. Oh, Detroit,
Charlotte,
not Charlotte.
not
Not
Charlotte.
No, not Charlotte. Charlotte would be like yellow and black colored.
And the people who use them will be given with the term for
Um,
We dealt with a swift kick.
But yeah, like the drywall guys, painters, and trim guys, and flooring guys
I'll use the rainbow.
They all use the
There's not Pete's intolerance at the end of that rainbow either.
They all use the other tool brand, which you stated is the F word.
Oh, dude, I just realized.
There's no pot of.
I
There's no
just,
pot of
I just
gold at the
realized
end
that
of
there's no
rainbow.
pot of gold, but there is a bunch of yellow
There's no
because
pot
the
of.
tools are yellow.
There's no pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. Just a bunch of sore asses. I think I can say that.
But yeah, generally, all the stuff that I have issues with involves the guys that use that yellow tool brand.
Well, here's the thing about and Jay can confirm this. Here's the thing about unitary cooling and heating equipment, which would just be like a standard air conditioner you'd have in your house. You can do a really, really shitty job and get that out of a 1-year warranty.
Yeah.
It's fairly like tolerant as far as not being put in right. It'll make it 1 year. It might not, like do it well, but it'll do it.
It'll make it enough to 1 year where nobody will really notice. And once you hit like the 1.5 mark, they're like, "What the fuck?" And then you
hit year
list all
3, and
issues.
me and Jay are telling you, "Yep, it all needs to be ripped out."
Well, and then you get the excuse, "Well, what the fuck? It worked all this time."
Yeah, that's the part that people. You know what? Start sending me and Jay pictures of your heating and air guys install stuff, and we'll start picking them apart.
I love it.
It'll be a fun game.
Will do.
I gotta
We'll
avoid
start
using
group
the F
chat.
word, though.
So, well, fellers, we're about 11 minutes past the mark. Before we
Please
close
hold
out, let's close out with one last comment from 10:06 p.m.
No, we're not doing that one.
You're not going to do that one?
No, we can do that one. I'm
Should
just
do
fucking
that.
with you.
Thank you. I worked hard on the walls. Tune in next time, and they might be mudded. We'll see.
By the end of the show here, he may even have paint on those walls. And when I say the end, I don't mean like the end of this show. I mean like when me and Jay and everybody are fucked off with it,
When we all die.
There we go.
possibly.
I will say there was one thing for a while that I used loyally from DeWalt because nobody else kind of got it right, was their little extensions that had to slide on them for like drywall screws and stuff. Because all the
Oh.
other ones, but that was back when I did construction, so I kind of needed it.
What
It was
are
good.
those called? Those are
I forget what the hell they call them.
attenuated bits, I think.
Something like that. Those were the only things they did like that nobody else did at the time. I'm sure it's different now. I don't know. I don't really use Phillips heads anymore.
Oh God, no. What do I look like? A fucking communist?
What do I look like? A mini split guy?
Exactly.
All right. Well, like, subscribe,
Share, comment. I know some people. I've been getting some comments that are some whatever. I've been getting some feedback from people saying that they watch Saturday mornings when they're drinking their coffee, or people that kind of hang out in the background and watch and stuff like that. But you can still give us the little thumbs up, give us a comment or something.
Yeah, give me a thumbs down. I really don't give a shit either way. We're getting noticed.
YouTube counts a thumbs down the same way that they count a thumbs up. And on that note, communists aren't people.
Damn
Amen.
it, DeWalt.